Alright, so hello everyone, let's start today's class. So today we'll be talking about a new service called S3. S3. So S3 means, to keep it simple, starting with full form, simple storage service. Sorry, S3 means 3 S's. Simple storage service. What does it mean? It's one kind of a storage in AWS. Just like EBS. EBS is also one type of storage, right? Our volumes. So we'll be creating our volumes and with some size, and we'll be attaching to servers and we'll be using it. As similarly, S3 also one of the storage types. So there are few differences obviously between S3 and between EBS. But EBS we generally use for storing our data, for operating systems as well. Then what S3 will be used for? What S3 will be used for is, of course, obviously to store data only. But we do have EBS, right? Why S3? We have EBS to store data. Why S3? That's where the thing comes. Why we use S3 and all. Why S3? Why S3 storage? I have it right. Why I need to use S3 is, here you can store any kind of data, and there is no limitation here. What is the limitation? Space limitation. The very first thing is, in EBS you create a volume with some size, let's say 100 GB, whatever it is, and of course it will be full. Obviously you will be increasing it. But in S3 storage type, there is no limitation. You can keep on uploading your data. There is no limitation actually. So based on what you upload, the cost also will be like that, but there is no limitation. There is a limitation for file size. Let's say I'm uploading a file, I'm storing a file in S3, let's say this one service. The file maximum size can be up to 5 TB. 5 TB. Remember, 5 TB. But overall you can store any number of files. There is no limitation for that. That is one thing. So this S3 particularly designed, will be using, or generally everyone uses S3 mostly for backup purposes, or if you have a big data, huge data, so you can store it. Or there is something called hosting the static website, that also we can able to do. This is not suitable for operating systems. Of course you cannot use it. You cannot use it for operating systems. Why? Because here S3, there is no format here. So for for EBS volumes we have a file system, right? So where it can read it, it will store data in different kinds of formats. It can read it. The system can read it. But in S3 there is no file system type and all. You just imagine like a bucket. So in bucket you can keep anything, right? You can keep your clothes, your things, whatever it is. I mean, you can store anything. If you want something to pick up from the bucket, you will just simply take it. Similarly here also, S3, we create a bucket. We create a bucket. If you see here, create a bucket. We create a bucket and we store the data inside it. So now in S3 terminology, we don't call them data, we call them objects. Be it anything. I'm uploading a video. It's a video MP4 file or an MKV file, I know it, but for S3 it's an object, that's it. I'm uploading a photo. For me it's a photo. For S3 it's an object. So everything is an object here. It means everything will be treated as an object. It's same thing. No matter what type of file you upload, same thing, same treatment will get for each and every file. So as I told you, so S3 mostly useful for backups purposes. Any kind of data you want to store. So let's say you have logs. You want to store the logs in S3 bucket. You can do that also. That is also fine. I mean. So let's say your server logs are there, Apache logs or whatever, Nginx log, Tomcat logs. You want to store somewhere, because of course, if you store in server, the size will get huge. You have to increase your EBS volume and all. So instead of that, I'll store my old logs somewhere. Where is that place? S3 bucket. So we'll simply create a bucket. You'll upload your objects into it. Upload. You'll see it. See that what is it. Okay. So we will be using these buckets, as I told you, mostly for backup purpose. Even in our every organization will use it. Even we are also using. There are hundreds of buckets in our organization. Mostly useful to store some static, to deploy some static websites. We'll see that what is that, and to store the backups, to store the logs only mostly. And if you observe here, with S3 there is no minimum fees. You pay for what you use. Prices based on the location of your S3 bucket. Depends on your region and how much data you store. So let's say I store an text file which is 1 KB. Obviously there is 1 KB is very less, right? No fees. I created 10 MB. 10 MB also less, maybe no fees. I created 1 GB file. Maybe for that. But comparatively, the cost will be too less. If you click on the pricing details here, these are all, forget about it. I'll show you basic pricing. Where is the object?
Do we have a free tier here?
It's not a free tier, but obviously it's free if you store the data, because initial data will be free. After some point, they'll charge for you. Let's say there is a limit until 1 GB, as an example I'm saying, until 1 GB it's free. After 1 GB, you'll get tax. You have to pay. So like that.
Okay.
So I forgot that, how much is the limitation. So you to calculate each one the cross order except the collaboration. So there is a free size. I forgot. So where is it? But yeah, that's okay. Imagine like 1 GB or let's say 10 GB. Until that point, it is free. Once you cross that, for that whatever that extra that they'll cost you. But S3 will be very less cost. You may ask why it is less cost. I mean, just we are storing something. Why it is less cost is, because I told you. So it's mostly used for backups and everything, not for real time, OS applications like that. And the processing also little slower compared to other EBS volume, because EBS they are storing as a blocks. The performance will be faster because of IOPS and throughput options. But in S3 there is no kind of such options. So the fetching the data and storing the data will be little slow. I mean, not that bad, a little slow. So it's one of the service. I mean, simply you can simply create a bucket and use it. There is no downtime in S3 bucket, unless availability zone itself, sorry, your region itself is down. So like that. So as of now, what we have seen is like we created auto scaling, load balancer, easy to blah blah and everything. They are region based, obviously. I mean, so for every region you need a separate one. So S3 is a global service. It means, of course, we will be creating a bucket in a region only. The data, whatever we uploading, will be storing in a specific region only, but you can able to see everywhere. Like let's say, let's go to EC2. Uh, that's okay. Let's go to EC2. I have, let's say I'll create something. Let's say key pair. Since it's easy, so test. I don't need it, so that's fine. Cancel. I don't need it. So I create a test key pair in Island region. Let's go to maybe Northern Virginia. Is there a key pair? See, no key pairs to display, because the data will be displayed to you based on the region. Correct? So if I go to Ireland, obviously it will be there. But S3 not like that. It's a global service. So once you create a bucket in any region, so it will be displayed to you everywhere, even if you switch regions. You will see that in next, in few minutes. But obviously you have to create a bucket in specific region. While creating a bucket, you'll ask to create in specific region, and obviously there are no buckets. That's okay. So and whatever data you upload, it will be in that region only. But visibility is global. Currently it's Ireland, right? I simply click on create a bucket. Let's wait. What is the bucket I'm creating in Ireland? General purpose bucket. My bucket name test. Let's see, test. You can choose settings from existing bucket. Of course I don't have it. These, forget about all these things that I'll tell you now. As of now, just keep it like this as it is and simply create. See, it's not, sorry, where is it? It's not allowing you to create because test bucket exists. Bucket with the test name already exists. Why? We don't have any buckets, obviously, right? I mean, we don't have anything. I mean, no buckets obviously here, but why it came? As I told you, S3 is global. It means this bucket name should be unique for each and every one. Even though it's the test bucket is not there with me, in other accounts test bucket might have been used. So I had to make it unique. See, bucket name must be unique within the global namespace. It means overall globally whoever have AWS accounts, some guy whoever have, they already have test bucket. We can't use that. So it should be unique for you. Overall global level. Test. I believe this also might be exist. See. Let's see. This also exists. So simply let's create a bucket with our name only. Oh wait, I can't use. See, now this is not exist. Let's create. You can remember, right? You got it right. Globally, it should be unique, not just for your account level. Global, whoever have AWS accounts. Now, if you have any, you guys open AWS account, try to create a bucket like this with same name. It'll show you error. So this is my bucket. Click on the bucket. Obviously, this is the region we have, created creation time. Click on the bucket. You will see nothing. Nothing. You can create a just like in a bucket. I told you, right? You can create folders in the bucket. Folder name test maybe. Folder names can be fine. I mean, that's fine. Don't worry. So bucket name should be unique. I can upload any files, my objects here. You can go back to here. I can create another folder. So it's fine. But folder name can be fine, but bucket name should be unique. So I have folders. Of course, there is no data. Obviously, you can upload anything here. Let's say I'll upload I have a file. Add files from I'll upload some photo. Simply click on upload. So what's happening? I'm uploading it in. Let me just click on close. I am uploading here. I have two folders and one file. You can go inside one folder and upload your objects, anything. Add the same file, no worries. I mean, it's not like a duplicate or something. Upload. It's done. Close. See, you can access it. Click on this, the object. This is object now. I told you, right? Everything is an object. So this is object, and these are folders, obviously. So object, you can click on object. These are the overview of the object. We'll discuss the same thing. Don't worry. And there is a URL for you to access. It seems. Let's open. Access denied. We cannot access it. Why? That we'll see in few minutes. Don't worry. So just like this, you can upload objects. Any object, I'm telling you, anything you can simply upload. Simply go click on upload. Add file. Choose whatever the file from your local. Not only this way, AWS CLI also there. You can able to use AWS command line. AWS S3 CLI is there. So you can use S3 commands to upload, just like CP command, except that we are copying from local to S3 bucket. That's it. What is the CP command? CP source destination, right? Here same thing. AWS S3 CP source and destination. Destination will be obviously your bucket. Here are the command. See, CP MV RM, same thing, same commands as Linux. You can try these commands. See, just forget about all these things. See here. AWS SCP command, Linux command, right? Extra only thing is AWS S3. That's it. You can try these commands also. This is also fine. You can upload from anywhere based on your access. So that we will see. Don't worry. So now go inside a bucket. This is a bucket. You have objects. You have folders. You can create n number of. I told you, right? There is no limitation. One limitation is the file size. Let's say this file size is 33 KB. So like this, the one file size can maximum up to 5 TB. Like that 5 TB files, I can upload anything, any number. There is no limitation for that. Individual file size limit is 5 TB. That's it. I can upload the 5 TB files anytime. And of course, I can delete it if you want. Simply click on delete. Permanently delete. I have to type this one. Okay, let me copy. What? Let me type. Yeah, sorry, it did not took. The folder is deleted. Let's see. Obviously, I want to delete the file. Simply click on delete. Permanently delete. See, same thing. You can select the. You can download the file. See, download it also. You can open it. Of course, we tried it. It will fail. But yeah, you can open it. You can download it. So all these things. Got it. And there is one more limitation. S3 bucket limitation. Per account, my account, AWS account, I can create until 100 buckets. That's a default one. If you want to increase more, obviously you can raise an AWS support ticket. It will be here. Yeah, here. Sorry, not this, not this. It's a CLI. Here. Support center. Simply go to support, raise a ticket, and explain why you need to have. They'll ask why you need a S3 bucket, extra S3 bucket, other than 100 default one. So explain of maybe my organization require whatever it is, blah blah blah, and they'll increase your quota. But by default 100. That's what I'm about to say. So that's about overall general overall bucket. Now of course we have lots of things inside to discuss. About the bucket, about individual objects also, because you, you can see lots of these things, right? Permissions, access point, blah blah, whatever it is. Let's discuss those. What are those? Okay. So let's go. So first, so once I click on the bucket, you can see object. These are all the objects in the bucket. I mean the data we have. So it's fine. You have seen this already. Let's go to properties. Bucket properties. These are. So there will be multiple options, as you can see here. There will be multiple options. So each and every option have its own, the working methodology, what it does exactly, and we'll be seeing that. So let's see one by one. Obviously, first thing, this bucket overview, bucket name, ARN. ARN is something I haven't told you yet. It's like Amazon resource name. So of course we'll identify by bucket name. There is resource name where it will be used in future purposes. I'll tell you why. But Amazon also gives unique name like this, ARN colon AWS colon S3 blah blah blah, the bucket name. There will be endpoint like this, URL like this, where you can able to use this in other services that we will see in future. For now it's okay. And creation date, obviously you know this, it's fine. So the main thing here is, see, there are so many things. It's fine. Bucket versioning. So versioning, just like GitHub versioning, or source code management versioning, or yesterday we have seen launch template versioning. It will store different versions of your data. Simply here also different versions of your objects. For now, what happens is, let's say I uploaded a file with some data, and I upload. I mean, if the version is enabled, if I upload the same file, it will take it, and it will store that as a new version, just like GitHub. But if it's currently disabled, right? Let's try it. Let's go upload an object. Maybe let me create a text file. Maybe this S3 some, remove the extra space and everything. Store in downloads. Let's upload. Obviously I upload a file, so all good. Now I'll do something. This is test something, just something, whatever it is. Now I'll upload again. What happens, it says file already exists. Let's see. Oh, it uploaded. But let's try the data. Oh, sorry, I have to download it. 1 minute. Data will be the new one obviously, but the old data you can't see it. Maybe let's keep it downloads. So new data is there, but there is no version of it. So let's say now I don't want the new data. I want to go back to the old version, so which is not possible. So at the time what you do, simply go here, enable the bucket versioning edit, simply enable it, save it. Bucket version enabled. Now the bucket, if I upload the file, sorry, the object, it will give me multiple versions to use. I can able to use it. Let me, where is it? Sorry. Yes, S3. This is the file, right? Mm, testing versioning. Now let's see. Upload, add files, blah blah blah. Earlier it overrided it. I mean the data is overridden. Now let's see. S3. Bucket, see here, bucket versioning enabled. For this, I mean, of course we have enabled that. So the bucket versioning will be available here. See, there are two things, two versions obviously. This is new one and this is old one. Old one obviously I can download. Yeah, in doc. I'm sorry. See, where is the new line which we added? It's a new version, which is this one, the first one. I can download. Uh, see, see, like this. The object versioning will be done. So obviously you can enable it later also. It's completely fine. Or you can enable it at the time of creating the bucket. That is also fine. So hope it's clear. I mean about bucket versioning. And of course tags. You can add any tag. I mean it's completely fine. But it's better to add tags because in organizations, I mean of course currently we're testing just one bucket, so it's fine. But in organizations there are multiple teams, multiple buckets, so we have to figure out you know uh, which team this bucket belongs to. So you need a tag. So make sure you have proper tags for each and every resource. So like that. Next thing we have encryption. You can encrypt the bucket. So bucket key is already enabled. See. So there will be default key which actually provided by AWS itself. From where we'll see that later. But for now, the encryption is already used. I mean enabled. You can, while uploading the object, you can select the encryption, enable or not. If you enable, you need the encryption key, which will AWS will give you by default. So you can use that. That is also fine. So next thing we have something called intelligent tiering. This I will explain later. For now, skip it. Next thing we have server access login. If you enable this, let's go enable. What happens, I mean, of course, give a bucket name. Sorry, s3 / maybe logs. So it will create a folder called logs. Now what happened is it will store the logs of the S3 bucket. This S3 bucket. Let's say there are multiple users who are logging. I mean, who are logging to AWS account, doing something in S3 bucket. Maybe uploading some objects, deleting something, maybe updating something. So all the information will be stored in the this logs folder. Let's save changes. This folder will create automatically. Don't worry about it. So it will take some time and it will create. So automatically what happens is all the logs will be stored there. So that's called server access login. So about the bucket, see, logs request for access to your bucket. Whoever you try to access, do something, anything, it will store it. It will store the logs. Got it? So this is again CloudTrail data events. CloudTrail I haven't discussed yet. Once you discuss, you will know this option. But for now, leave it. And of course, there is something called event notifications. If something event happens, it will notify you. Just like we have seen auto scaling, right? Launch event, terminate event. Just like in create events, when event name may be test. So let's say prefix means, you know, in which folder exactly or which type of objects you want to have the notification. Maybe in the test folder, whatever the objects I have, what should be the suffix? Maybe .txt. Sorry. This means in the test folder, if any change happened in the .txt file, there will be multiple files, but file specifically to .txt, which we are giving the event notification. We are creating event for that, or you can simply leave it. What happens, it will take for everything. Anything happens in test folder, it will take it, or simply leave this also. Any change happened in overall in whole bucket, it will give you. Next, when to type, I mean, what type of events you want to receive. So there are something called creating events. Put means upload the object. Copy means object copied. Removal, I mean delete, permanently deleted, or restoring the object. There are tagging the object. There are multiple things like this. You can choose which you want, and based on that, it will choose. I mean, it will send the alert for you. For now, let's maybe all object create, and to whom we need to send. SNS topic. For now, SNS topic. We have seen it. So okay, there is already SNS topic, it seems. So it's like, you have your mail in SNS topic. So for that mail, it will send an email notification. So let's go to SNS. It's one of the service actually, which we'll discuss later fully. But for now, we'll just create a topic where we'll add the email. So see, let's go to test. See, my email is there here. That's it. You can add subscription, add your own email. But yeah, for now, just adding the email. So in S3, there is an option to, what is it, to create a new SNS topic. But for now, simply click the test. This is the my test, which has this email address. So which will send the notification. If I create, it will send the notification. Unable to validate following destination configuration. Okay, that's fine. So here what's happening is, forget about the error, I'll explain later. We are creating a notification for events. Any events what's happening, you can choose a very particular event, not just one event. You can choose multiple, see, there is no limitation like that. You can choose anything. So if these events happen, whatever you checked, they'll send an alert to you, to your mail, whatever the mail you have added. So it's like, first thing is what to monitor. I mean, for what you want to send email, and when you want to send email, and to whom, obviously destination, you want to send email, destination here. So like this, you can create your own events, and you can able to add it. So that's about, where is it? Where is it? Yeah, event notifications. So there is something called transfer acceleration. So what is this transfer acceleration means? If you, let's say, let's go here. Where is it? Yeah, edit. If you enable, let's say, what happens here is, if you enable this, let's say now I want to copy my data. You can copy data from, obviously, from what is it? One from one bucket to another bucket. That is completely fine. I mean, it's we can able to do that. So this faster acceleration means this improves the transfers, the file transfers between our clients on our S3 buckets. So how it will improve is, there is a concept called CloudFront, a service called CloudFront from AWS, which will accelerate our uploads and copying uploads and downloads. It improves the data transfer. It will know, which will be useful for huge data transfers. Of course, it comes with a price, obviously based on your how much data you transfer. But for now, we don't have anything, so we can disable it. You can see here, used an accelerated transfer endpoint for faster data transfer. So you can transfer without this also, but with the transfer acceleration, you can have more faster. So if you have huge files, of course, you can able to do it. So that's about it. So since we don't have it, so we're not using it. And next thing is object locking. So this object locking is, it's prevent objects from being deleted. So let's say you have an object. This object locking we are enabling for whole bucket. So if we enable the whole bucket, let's say enable. Sorry. See, I acknowledge the enabling object lock will permanently allow objects in this bucket to be locked. We are locking the object. It means we cannot delete it. Once it's enabled, we cannot delete it. So let's see. Save changes. Go to object. I think it's already done. Try to delete. Try deleting. It should not work. What the hell? It's deleted. Wait, sorry. Wait. Is it not enabled? Default object locking enable. There is something called default retention. Enable it. No, this is fine. This should be fine. Oh, let's try disable. Deleting something. Maybe this one. What the hell? It deleted. It should throw an error. Maybe. I need some more thing. Wait a minute. Let's upload this. Upload. Close. Blah blah blah. Select the object. Permissions. Blah blah blah. Versions. Not required. Object actions. Blah 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 blah. No, not there. Oh, object lock legal hold. So it's on hold actually. Maybe. Wait a minute. Go to my bucket. Properties. Object locking, where it is. Yes, object locking. Default retention automatically protects new objects put on bucket from being deleted or overwritten. Enable. Default retention period may be 1 day. Now what happens? What is this option? What is default retention is? So, oh wait. Once Amazon S3 lock enabled, we can disable it or lock this promotion of the bucket. That's okay. We'll be deleting the bucket anyway. So one thing object locking will do is, it will prevent objects from being deleted. If I delete it, it will say error. Hey, object is locked. You cannot do it. And another thing it will do is, you cannot overwrite for a specific period of time. Let's say I give one day here, right? 1 year, let's say, example. So objects cannot be written until 1 year. Let's say I have a file. Got it? I have a file now. I want to upload some. I upload it. I mean, with some data and all. Now, if I enable this one, you know what happens? This retention, I mean, whatever the retention period I gave this, until 1 year, this won't allow editing the file. It means I cannot edit the data inside the file. That is also not possible. Let's save it. Let's try now. Hopefully it should work. Delete. Ah, it's still. Why the hell it is taking on hold? What is this? Let's go here. This is object level, obviously. Let's try delete. Let's go back. Try deleting. Blah blah. Still it's deleting. Okay, all good. Not sure why it is not working. It worked when I just deleted today. That's okay. So but yeah, I'll tell you this again, but this is how usually object locking gonna work. So we'll be enabling the lock, so we cannot delete it, but of course it's not working. We'll see that later, don't worry. So next thing we have like sorry, what is that, requester pace. Requester pace, when enabled, what happens, when you enable this thing, usually what happens is we can copy any files and anything, right? Of course, and we'll be paying obviously, you know uh, for that, for data transfer. But if you enable this, what happens, whoever is receiving the data, so they will be paying it. Why they will be paying it? Because so we are making the data available to others, so they are accessing it and they'll be paying for it. But of course, once you enable this authentic request to pay option, you cannot send data to everyone, so there has to be authentication enabled. So you need this. So generally we don't use this, but as an idea I told this is how generally it works. So here also it's there. When enabled, the requester pays for request and data transfer. Whoever requested the data, they'll be uh, paying for it. Because let's say this bucket is there, I want to access the data from this bucket. I don't copy it. I mean, I'm the owner of the bucket, I don't copy to them. So they want to access it. So they'll access with by authenticating to this bucket, and they'll try to download the data, copy the data to their location, wherever it is. And of course they'll be responsible for the cost also when it's enabled. If I disabled it, I have to copy the data since I'm the bucket owner, and of course I need to what is it, I need to pay for it. So that's about requester pays up. I never used it, to be honest. So this is an idea which I have. That's about requester pays. Finally we have static website hosting. What is this? We can use the bucket for static website hosting. What is static website hosting? An UI application, uh, when nothing changes, it's a static code where the code does not work dynamically. Like we have front end and back end, right? Back end code is a dynamic code, dynamic application, because there will be APIs, there will be data transfers, there will be calling, DB callings and everything, right? But static code means a front end code where there is no logic actually. It's just an UI which we access. Have you observed, any static website hosting? Most of the consultancy pages like that, applications. Just simple in HTML file, simple in HTML, CSS pages. Those are called static website hosting. Even we can create a index.html, right? Generally, that is also static website hosting. So instead of deploying the static website in EC2 server, we can use this. And EC2 server we have to pay for hourly, correct? Obviously. So this is a static website and we have to pay hourly, too much cost. Instead of that, we can use S3 for static website hosting. No need of running EC2. You can simply deploy it and you can able to access it. So like that. So what happens is, like, the cost also will be very less, right? Obviously. So it's very helpful for us if you have any static website hosting. You can edit it, enable it. You have to pass few parameters. First thing is host a website. Obviously, yes. Where is the index.html? It's in my, you have to give index.html because that's the source of the UI application. So I'll maybe in the app folder I have index.html. I don't have it, I'll upload it obviously. Create save changes. Uh, the index document submission is not well formed. Why is it not accepting? Let me see. Let's give like this. I'll upload here directly. Oh yeah, it took. So static website, see it gave you URL also, you can able to access with this. But obviously we don't have anything, it will fail. Forbidden also will come, we'll see that later. But for now, upload our index.html. Maybe, mm, let's open a new file. Hello from S3, S3 bucket. Hmm. Let's save it. Index.html downloads. I guess it's saved as a text file. Yeah, correct. So upload the index.html obviously. Upload. Add files. Close. So this is where the S3 is expecting, because we gave the edit. We gave the index.html. It means in the root folder it is expecting. So index.html, sorry, now go to website, refresh, still it will come 404. That's fine, we'll see that very next few minutes why it is like that. But for now the static website hosting is done. You may ask, is it just one file the website have, front end website? There will be multiple files, but this is the main one. From this only all the links, everything will be there, so pointers and everything. So it's not our thing. So all we have to do is, if you're deploying an web application, UI application mainly, you have to make sure index.html exists. That's it. There is something called error.html. If you see error, sometimes it can't be reached. I mean, or some errors usually from Google you will see it, from browser internet. You want to see your own customized error. You may see in Amazon, let's say, it will show you dog pictures, right? Animal pictures. If something is wrong with the application, it is, they have their own error pages. So like that also you can create your own error page and you can able to use it. But of course I don't want to create it. But generally people create in applications. Developers do that. So let's save it. Let's see why it is failing. 403. Why is 403 happening? For image also, sorry, for object also I tried to upload in the test S3 that image, but still it is throwing me error. Why? That we'll see in next few minutes. Upload the object for now. You know why? Because by default S3 is blocked all the access. See, this is, I'm trying to access from the internet. Bucket is somewhere in region, I'm trying from my things. That's why it is blocking. So in the permissions tab we have to allow that. We'll go there very soon. Click on permissions. So see, block all public access. It's by default it's blocked. That's why you cannot access. Let's enable it. Uncheck the option, save it, which is not recommended obviously, that we'll see later. So by default it's blocked. Now we enabled block all public access off. Now go to objects. Go to our see this URL, right? Still access denied. Okay, let me just try. What the hell? That's okay. Yeah. So first thing is, hello, that's okay. So we have to discuss these things, then yeah, we'll access it. First thing what happens, block public access in the permissions, which is like it's like we can limit here granting the public access or not for our S3 buckets as well as objects also. If you turn on, by default it's on, no one can access it, but you turn off, you can access. Of course it's still throwing error, we'll see that in few minutes. Even if you can turn off this, but not a good practice. If you see here, it's arrow mark, the error warning, like, because if you turn off this, anyone can access your bucket. If you know my bucket name and let's say this one, you can access it. That's why you should not turn on this. In organizations we don't do this. Even if you do this, let's say I need to make it off only in order to access from my customers. There is something called bucket policy. So this bucket policy is something you can restrict at the bucket level. You may ask, like, why, even though I disable the sorry, I disable the blocking public access, I still cannot access the bucket because this policy is blocking me. This policy is blocking me by default. So this is the default policy, which don't worry about what is this and all. So we can generate policy by our own. So this is allowing only from AWS. Let's remove the whole policy. I don't need it. We'll see it. Don't worry. We'll add our own policy. No policy. Let's try. Why still? Phew. Okay, so I forgot. Sorry, wait. That's okay. So bucket policy is something. It's written in JSON actually. I mean, we'll be having JSON content. So to provide access to your bucket. So whatever the objects obviously inside your bucket have, you can apply to that. So I don't know what is this. I mean, I don't know how to generate a policy. So there are some new topic called IAM, so which will come maybe tomorrow if it is all fine. So we'll be having a policy to allow something or to block something. There is something, a website called actually to generate our own policy. If you don't know how to write it, obviously I also don't know. So type of policy you want, S3 bucket policy. Effect is allow or deny. So are you creating a policy for allowing something or denying something? Obviously allowing something. And principal for now we can give star, no worries. Next thing is S3, obviously S3. And actions in S3, what you want to do, there are so many things in S3: creating bucket, deleting bucket, uploading the object, downloading the object. We call them put object, get object, like this. And uploading, changing the properties or not, changing the object properties or not, and all those things. Lots of things are there. For now I'll select all actions. And resource name is, I told you resource name. Resource name is something AWS gives to a specific resource. AWS also, sorry, for our bucket also there is a resource name here, and obviously we'll see that. So now we are creating a policy to this bucket only, right? So figure out where it is. Obviously I think properties, yeah. This is the resource name. Copy it, simply paste it, add statement, generate policy. See, this is the policy where we are giving whole access, all S3 access. I mean, in this specifically in S3 bucket, we are allowing everything, every action we are allowing. That's the meaning of this. Simply go to S3 permissions, edit, paste it, save it. I know this might be confusing, this policy. So to keep it simple, let me explain. Like, I want to access it. If you want to access my phone, there are two ways. One thing, I need to tell my password to you, or I need to add your fingerprint details in my phone so that you can log in by your own. Correct? So we are giving access to you specifically. But similarly in S3 also there is something called bucket policy, where it controls the access to your objects in the bucket and to your bucket also with the help of policy. Policy also have two things: allow and deny. So what you want to allow and what you want to block. So for now I allowed everything. I can allow only specific actions. Maybe I'll allow upload object into bucket, and I'll delete. So like that also I can able to add. So you can add any like that. For now, just for demo purpose, I added this like this. Got it? So this is about bucket policy. We'll see that. Still we can't access still. See? We cannot access. Still access denied. We'll see that. Don't worry. So AWS S3 policy generator is a website. So you can able to use this to generate a bucket policy, which is easy. Or if you know JSON, so you can able to write it completely from scratch. That is also completely fine. Or let's say you don't know that also. AWS only provided it. Here you can select what you want and it will do it to you. That is also fine. Got it? So that's about bucket policy. Let's go to objects. So here what's happening here is, so we can access buckets, one bucket and another bucket, even different regions, different accounts also, sorry, not regions, different accounts also. So your account is there, my account is there, I can able to access your bucket. That we don't discuss now, maybe at last I'll tell you that, because you need to understand few topics before that. So this object ownership is, let's say I shared my bucket to you, your account. So who is the owner then? Is it me or you? So it's your account, so you should be the owner, but it's my object which I share it to you, so it should be me, right? So if you enable this, what happens is, like, we are controlling who should be the access, who should have the access when you share it. So it depends on, based on the ACLs. The ACLs will come below. So now ACLs are something granting access to your S3 buckets. So you can have bucket owner. As of now, you can see permissions list write, read write. Bucket owner can do list write, read write. Everyone public access as of now zero. Sorry, I mean no access. Or you can have within the AWS account there will be users. We'll see that tomorrow. So they can access or not. That's also we can able to do. As of now, if you see, we can't edit it. Why? Because this ownership has to be changed. So then, sorry, acknowledge. Sorry. Now what happens is, we can edit it. See. So this ownership is, as I mentioned, if you share your object to other AWS accounts, at the time who should be the owner of it, that they'll decide. So as of now we kept, let's see, bucket owner preferred. If new objects is returned to this bucket, specify the bucket owner full name in ACL. So whoever owns the bucket, they will be the owner of the object also, if you someone shared, or object writer also you can keep. So if you keep object writer, what happens is, whoever shared the bucket, they will be the owner. So for now keep the bucket owner as it is. Now go to ACLs. ACL something like to give access, public access to other AWS accounts, or to the whole public. You can able to access it. For now, we'll just test it. I mean, we don't give it. We'll just test it. Everyone public access list. They can able to read also. Not a good practice. See the red mark. Anyone in the world can access this bucket. I understand this. Okay. Let's save it. Now let's refresh. What the hell? I don't believe it. Okay, I got it. So we'll discuss that, don't worry. Even though we allowed the whole internet access, why still I can't able to access this? Here what's happening is, these permissions, these properties, whatever we are seeing just now, is for a whole bucket level, not for individual objects, right? You're trying to access individual object. S3 PNG is an object, I mean the photo. You're trying to access that, which is an object inside the bucket. Specifically, you're not giving the permissions to that, obviously. So that we'll see later. So we'll see that in a few minutes, don't worry. But for now, these are the permissions we have. We have ACL permissions, we have bucket policies, we have block public access. So we'll be using this combination to give access to your buckets within the organization, because in policy we'll be limiting restrictions only to uh, some network, only to some IP address, like that we'll have condition, or only to specific user, like that we'll be doing. Got it? So that's about the permissions. So next thing is, we have something called management. Where is the management? Metrics is about how many buckets are there one day. I mean, still we haven't created, our bucket is older than an hour maybe, so you don't see any data. It's like it will show you analysis of their bucket size, how much bucket size, because you can't see the bucket size anywhere except in metrics. And how many objects are there, you have to calculate it here. You have to go here, calculate, or see here. Instead of that, metrics will show you clear data, clear idea for 1 day period, 1 week or 2 weeks period like this. We would to create it and tomorrow see it. It will show you the data here. So it will just metrics. Why we use metrics to see the data, right? Obviously, just like how we see monitoring metrics, similar thing. That's about it. Next we have management. So management is something like, it has some rules. Life cycle rules is the first thing. Life cycle rule, something, like, let's say, example, I'm just saying, you want to delete an object maybe after 1 week. Of course you can come, after a week you can, come here and delete it. Obviously that is fine, but I wanted to make it automatic. Maybe after 1 week I won't be available. At that time you can create a policy. It will do some that it will do the action for you. Got it? It will do the action for you. See, this deleting them after a specific period of time. This I haven't told you yet. We'll see that maybe in few minutes. But see here, you can create a rule, lifecycle rule like this. What is the rule name? Maybe test prefix. Maybe as an example, something maybe old underscore something. So it will make sure that, it will check it. If any object start with underscore old, it will do the actions. What actions? Lifecycle rule actions. Delete expired object. Permanently delete non-current objects. Expire current version of objects. This transition we haven't discussed it. We'll see that. So you can choose it and simply create. Sorry, one transaction I need to expect. Simply create. You know what happens? Of course, let me just edit again. Don't worry. Sorry, we have to give a date also. Let's again. You can apply to the whole. Sorry, whole objects in the bucket also, or you can simply apply to specific buckets. Sorry, specific objects which starts with this uh, old underscore whatever the name. Let's say I have objects like old underscore some test whatever it is. So that's this lifecycle rule will apply to that object. So whichever start with underscore old, this will apply to that. So as well as there is some option called object size. So based on object size also you can limit the rule. You limit the scope. Let's say old is there. I have 100 files with old underscore name prefix. Prefix means starting, suffix means ending. So and out of that I want to delete only specific files after 7 days which which are older than, which are size is maximum 100 GB as an example like this GB, sorry. So out of the 100 only 10 has 100 GB size. So this lifecycle rule will apply to only the 10 objects. So like that also you can able to do it. Got it? So and what to do, lifecycle actions. Permanently delete, choose it, and of course the number of days. How many days? Maybe 7. So here what happens is, so after 7 days it will try to remove. But what is this versions? What is this versions? It means because we enable the bucket versioning, so it will show multiple versions, right? How many versions I need to delete? All versions? I mean, how many versions I need to retain? Sorry. You can keep maybe number. So one version it will be retained. Remaining versions it will delete. It means old version will be deleted. New version will be keep. If let's say you don't give anything. See here, all versions will be deleted after 7 days. Anytime you can give it like this. Simply create, save it. So now this, there is a lifecycle policy where it will delete my objects after 7 days. What objects? Objects which starting with old underscore, where is it? Yeah, prefix. And within that also size. Okay, I didn't give size. Okay, size, maximum size is 100 GB. So that condition will apply to all the objects, I mean with this prefix old underscore objects, and it will try to delete that. So like that we can able to create life cycle policies. Got it? So that's about the sorry, management here, life cycle policy. You can create n number of policies, there is no limitation. And there's something called replication rules. What does it mean, replication? So this rule we are creating, you want to copy from one bucket to another bucket, you can able to do it with S3 CLI. I told you, right? You can do that with copy. That is good. Okay. But my scenario is, whenever in a day, hundred thousands of files will be uploaded to my bucket from different users, different guys, within our team, or within our organization. So every day I can't do S3 CP, something like that. It's difficult. So I'll create a rule, replication rule. So whenever someone upload an object, automatically it should be copied to another bucket. That's my requirement. So at that time we create replication rule. Maybe rule test status enabled source bucket from this region, destination. Choose the bucket. You can choose the bucket. I don't have it. I mean, obviously you can select any other account also. See, account ID and the bucket name, destination region. It will come automatically come. So here what's happening is, we are replicating the data from one bucket to another bucket. So we can do that same thing with S3 commands, as I told you, but I want to make it automatic. So whenever someone uploads it, so it should automatically send it. Or I can add, there are two options again. Source, apply to all the objects. It means whenever any object someone upload it, it will copy it. Or I can add a prefix, test underscore, maybe just exam, or test underscore star you can give. So any object uploaded with star, sorry, test, that object will be copied to whatever the destination. Where is this? Here bucket will give. It can be within your account, or it can be different account also. Got it? So that's about the replication rules, which usually we have. So is it clear? So that's about S3 bucket configuration, properties, permissions, metrics, and management. We have individual level, object settings also, object configuration. Same thing, you'll see ACLs, obviously, same thing you'll see, don't worry. So versions also, because S3, sorry, bucket versioning is enabled. Properties also similar thing you'll see. Who is owner? Oh, this is, I'm the owner. This is URI, object URL. Every object will have its own URL, you can able to access by that. Of course we haven't accessed yet, we'll try, don't worry. And bucket versioning is enabled. Replication status nothing, we haven't done none. Expiry date rule nothing, expiry date nothing, because we didn't give. Storage class we'll see now. And tags, of course, object locking, redemption, you already seen this. Same thing with permissions also, ACLs are there for individual level. Now edit the ACLs, give public access, read, save it. Where is it? Yeah, sorry, save it. Let's try refresh this. Okay, let's edit other thing. Let's edit the permission for this also. Blah 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 blah. Let's try. See, press agile. Oh, I'm using, okay, it should also work. See, the image loaded, it took some time, sorry, my bad. This is the content we have in index.html, and this is the image, right? So we enable the public access, we can able to do it. Usually you may get, if I get public, obviously if I give public access, everyone can see it, right? Where is the security? That's why in organizations we don't enable it, we keep it disabled only. But as I told you, the bucket policy, remember, where is that? Sorry, here, go to bucket objects, permission, bucket policy. Here we'll control it, because in office we'll be in a different network, right, altogether. So that level of access we can able to give. Got it? But since we don't have here, so we'll be giving like this. We just for testing purpose, I mean, don't do it. I mean, you can practice like this, but in organizations, if someone asks how to access it, don't say simply give public access. No one gives. We'll use the bucket policy to give access. That's the thing. That's about how you access the application. I mean, of course, this is a static website. Sorry, this is the object. See, the observe the URL. bucket name dot s3 dot region dot amazon aws.com, bucket name dot s3 hyphen website, static website we enable, right? Remember, we enable the static website. Where is it? Ah, yeah, see, you can disable it if you don't want it, obviously. Disable. Now the URL won't work. See, it's disabled. Let's refresh. See, not found because the website is disabled. Most people, use this S3 only for static website hosting. We're also using the same thing with some other service linked that we'll see maybe 2 days later. But this is how generally we are also using static website hosting. Why I need to waste my resources on deploying this static website on EC2? Correct. So where I can create an S3 bucket which is very less cost, and the code also index the HTML files, CSS files will come with very less size, not even MBs. So cost will be not dollar something, $0.01 something like that, or $1 maximum per year maybe. So that's how less cost S3 bucket is to store. Depends on your files. I mean the data size obviously. Got it? So we are also using the same thing, S3 bucket for static website hosting in our organization. So that's about S3. I know it's too much, but I just want to let you know all the things so that you'll understand the overall idea what's happening. Let's say maybe tomorrow if I told lifecycle policy, I need to say again what is objects, what is buckets. So that's why I want to give you a clear idea. There is one more small topic finally which I want to think. S3, what is S3? To store objects. Sorry. And S3 have different kinds of storages. Of course, we didn't see anything, but where are the storage classes? Those storage classes comes the way how you store the data. So let's see the storage classes. The default one is standard class. This is when you upload your object. This is sorry. When you upload the object, this is the class which by default, so it will be used. There is something called infrequent access. I'll explain out of this. Don't worry. Next, something called intelligent tiering. Spelling wrong, but yeah. So major things. One zone IA. I think yeah, these are fine. So these are the phone, and of course archives. This I'll tell you. So these are the classes we have types. So what are the what are these classes? I mean, why we need S3? Because we are uploading directly our object. But where are the classes? Where I can see the classes is by where we use this first. It depends on how frequent you access your data. Let's say I have a file. I upload the file to S3. By default, it's standard class. I may not use it regularly. I may not access it regularly. Maybe weekly once or monthly once. But if you keep the, let's say that file size is 1 GB. Let's imagine. Obviously, as just an example, I'm telling you maybe $1 per month. So, but I'm accessing only once per month. I mean, simply I can change my object class to infrequent access, where infrequent access means we are not accessing regularly, so obviously the cost also will be less. So maybe per what do you say, per monthly once I'm accessing, so the cost also will be that, and the object will be automatically moved to this infrequent class. We don't see the difference here, but internally it will have classes. You don't see anywhere. Observe it. There won't be anywhere which class it belongs to. Yeah, see, storage class. We'll change this class, edit. See how many classes are there, and see the differences. Only if you upload object and you can change it, but simply come here. Do you figure out anything? No, unless you click on it. Come here. This is the storage class. It depends based on your data accessibility. Let's say this most common question generally asked, what are the types of storage classes and why we use them? See, frequently access data more than once in a month with millisecond access. So there are retrieval fees is nothing. Let's say you're not using this. So maybe you're using maybe monthly more than sorry once, maybe once in 2 months. There's something called standard IA, infrequent access. So you can move the storage class here. Simply save it. Let's wait. So what happens is, see here, standard IA. It means you're not accessing this. Maybe monthly once, or no more than month. It's one time. Why? Because I don't need to access it daily, because that's my requirement. We don't access it. So based on that only the cost will be like that. Pay per GB fees apply. Of course it's 128 KB, there is no size. But if you are huge file size, the cost also differs. Standard have little more cost compared to standard sorry, infrequent access. That's well like that. That's why we switch between storage classes if you're not using the objects. Same way with intelligent tiering. Intelligent tiering is something like, let's say you have a file. Sometimes you'll access weekly once. So weekly once means it comes under standard class, right? Okay. Sometimes I use maybe 2 months once, which comes under infrequent access. So there is no standard. So sometimes I'll access it, sometimes I don't access it. So at that time you can select the intelligent tiering. This intelligent tiering automatically switches, changes your storage class of the object based on how you access it, based on when you access it. So it will change that. So that's about intelligent tiering. You can simply, mostly you can use the intelligent tiering. What happens is this will change on whenever you access the object. So let's say you're not accessing the object, it's been 2 months now. Intelligent tiering will move the object to standard infrequent access class. And suddenly you accessed it after 2 months. This intelligent tiering will move the object to standard class. So like this. Of course, the difference is cost. So S3 is itself is a cheaper only, but let's say if you go for standard infrequent class, cheaper cost. With I told you, right, after GB only the cost will be for you, but not less than that. So like that, intelligent tiering works, standard works, infrequent works. There is something called one zone IA. This also one zone IA means uh, let's say you're not your data is infrequently accessed, maybe as I told you, very rarely, and which does not require multi-AZ resilience. It means the data will be stored in a single availability zone within this region. The bucket is in Ireland region, so by default the bucket will be stored in multiple regions, multiple availability zones, just for safe side, high availability purpose. But you don't want that. You want to store the bucket the object within the bucket in a single availability zone only. Why? To reduce the cost, obviously. And of course there is a issue here. If some availability zone is gone, your object cannot be accessible. So infrequent access, but only one availability zone you want to store the object. At the time, one zone it'll be useful. And remaining all four, there is something called a glacier, where it will archive your data. Let's say your file is there 1 GB. It's compressing your file. You don't access it. You'll store in archives. Archive means very old files, you don't access it anymore. Maybe very early ones whenever you want to see something. So at that time, so it will compress the file in archive the file, obviously, and it will store it in glacier. So glacier deep dive is the last one. So less than once a year. See, so it will store, you can store there also. That is fine. The cost also will be like that. For now, let's keep it standard, or as I think I choose an infrequent access. That's okay. It means we're not going to access this bucket, this object frequently. If you access it, the cost will be like that. If you, of course, there won't be any cost because it's just 20 bytes. So obviously there won't be, it won't make much difference. So these classes will make difference when you have huge data, huge file sizes, TBs, GBs, like that. Got it? So that's the last I wanted to say in S3. I know it's 1.5 hour too much, but try to watch the video again, try to see, so you'll understand what's happening. So it's like, I think we have discussed what is S3, why it will be used mostly for backups. I mean, to store any data, huge datas, because the cost is less, and of course the storage class, as I told you. So based on data availability, accessible, how you're accessing, you can store the data like that. And what are the bucket level permissions, properties, and everything, options. Same thing, object level permissions. I mean, both are same thing, same options. You can give it individual bucket object level also. So like that. So each and every object will have a URL you can able to access. I think I gave, yeah, you can access like this. I gave public access. There is something called ARN, Amazon resource name, which it will give. You will see more of this ARN in future, but it's like a unique name for your object. So for your resource, it can be object, it can be bucket, it can be auto scaling, load balancing, everything have ARN. So it's like Amazon resource name, which the name gives by AWS itself for their identification, not for you. But of course, we'll be using that in future. Okay, so that's about S3. So do practice. I know you'll have doubts. Definitely ping me. If any doubts, do watch the video again. Do practice, and we'll meet tomorrow and 30 minutes earlier, 8 o'clock. Okay, so is it clear?
Yeah. Okay.
So then have a good night, I guess. So bye all. Bye, we'll meet tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye.